Yeah, it's recording.
There we go. Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy from New York, Kevin, and today we are going to talk about this bad boy right here, the What About Now album. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic because this is actually one of my top five Bon Jovi albums. Funny
I
enough,
know.
it still holds up to me because this was actually the first album I heard. When being indoctrinated into the whole Bon Jovi fandom. So I
Yeah.
remember counting down the days for it. I remember when back in March, I think, of 2012, when John did that person to person interview, he was singing the
Mhm.
song called What About Now? And I said to myself, I'm like, watch this be the title of the next album because they've done so many things in their amazing, I think it was like 27-year career at that time. So What About Now seemed like a good title that was very tongue in cheek. And lo and behold, when John said, oh, the working title right now is What About Now? I
Yeah.
said to myself, I'm like, I did it. But this, I remember just being so excited for this album, and then when I finally heard "Because We Can" on January 7th, I
Yeah.
remember I was in the cafeteria of my school, and I didn't have one. I didn't have an iPhone, so I had an iPod Touch, and the only place I could get Wi-Fi was in the cafeteria. So I had to wait like 2 hours because I think the song came out at 10 a.m. that day for
Yeah.
whatever reason. And I remember just having to wait 2 hours just to hear the 90-second preview on iTunes.
Hmm. Yeah. I'll talk about my experience too with that song and getting it that day. But let's start off with the album itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was the 12th studio album, and it was released on March 8th. This was the first and only album that they actually released after a promotional tour, like during a promotional tour. So
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of weird to because they only did one performance of these songs before the tour. So it was the BBC radio show, and so that's how we knew
And
like what's
Stuttgart too. Don't forget about the beautiful place known as Stuttgart.
and uh and so it was kind of weird because I went to like 7 or 8 shows before the album even came out, and so it was kind of interesting to hear how the album sounded in studio as opposed to live.
Mm-hmm. Why
Um,
did they do that?
what's that?
Why did they do that?
I don't know. I we'll get to it, but I always thought I felt like this album was rushed, because it was recorded from January to August 2012,
Mm.
and I don't know, but it was produced by John Shanks. Obviously, this was his fourth. Have a Nice Day, Lost Highway Circle. Yeah, so fourth studio album with the band, and it hit #1 everywhere. I know one thing that I wanted to talk about is how incredible the artwork is on
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah,
album.
definitely.
So back in 2013, we were talking before this, you could point your iPhone at the artwork and everything would come alive. The soldier would go in motion, the band would come out, the gloves would interact, and it was so cool. And the tour book did the same thing. When you got on the first leg, the tour book. Um, and I always wondered, we were talking about this earlier. I always wondered what it would be like if they did that now instead of 2013, because 2013 technology and iPhone was still kind of
Mm-hmm.
getting a grasp. But I think it would have been so much cooler and so much better now because there were a lot of bugs with it back
Oh,
then too.
definitely. Yeah.
Uh, but anyway, the artwork is pretty cool. I think.
I think
Um,
it's my favorite artwork for an album, I would say.
yeah, and rumor has it that this was actually when John first started writing this album, that it was going to be a solo album,
Really?
and then it turned into a band album. Yeah,
Really?
because
I didn't know
I
that.
remember. Well, I remember in 2011 there was a couple interviews where John said that he was potentially writing a solo album, and then um, this obviously turned into a band effort. So I always wondered if it was going to start out as a solo album because they were. I remember in the fan club, the backstage of John Bon Jovi, some other fans we were talking about that when there was news about this album coming. So just a little tidbit, you know,
Mm-hmm. I didn't know
interesting.
that. Wow.
Yeah. Um, and then obviously another big thing about this album too is that this is the last album with Richie.
Mm.
And we won't get into the whole skeptical on Richie and all that, but this album was actually finished after his solo album, Aftermath of the Lowdown, which was Richie's third solo album. And so it's kind of interesting to listen to both albums of it because Richie was kind of simultaneously recording both in 2011, 2012. So
That's interesting.
yeah, let's go into the tour. How many shows did you do on that tour?
Two. I did both shows at MetLife, and I begged my dad to take
I
me
went
to
to that show.
Philly
Yeah,
in November, but it didn't pan out. I was very disappointed. And I
I went
haven't
to the
missed a
Met.
month. Yeah, MetLife was good. Night one was amazing.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's in
Night one.
my top five favorite Bon Jovi shows.
Was that the night that it rained, or was it the second
Yeah,
night?
that was the first night. Yeah, the second night I wasn't too crazy about.
I thought both shows were. I was blown away by both. I love stadium shows, and that's actually I've seen them in arenas since. But stadium shows are so much fun. I think this last time I saw them in a stadium was that tour.
Stadiums get better set lists typically. That's what I noticed.
Overseas better lists too.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Overseas gets better set lists too, as we've talked before.
Yeah, the shows in Dublin that I went to on This House tour were great, but I remember just hearing Always for the first time at those MetLife shows. Um, those were a lot of fun. I remember it was funny because my dad originally got tickets for Saturday night, and then I begged my mom to take me to the Thursday one. I was like 16 or 17 at the time, and she was going to take me to the Thursday one, and we got the tickets. And then at the last minute, I was talking to she asked me, she didn't really want to go, and she's like, "Hey, you want to go with your dad instead?" So she gave my dad and I the tickets, and my dad and I ended up going.
Oh wow!
We ended up doing both shows, and we were originally in the second level, but we snuck
Yeah,
down and we were right next to the stage on the first level to the right.
nice.
So we had a good
Well,
spot.
nice. Well, too bad we didn't know each other back then. That would have been
Hmm.
kind of out there, but always future. So this tour hit U.S., Canada, South Africa, Europe, South
Hmm.
America, and it finished in Australia. It was probably one of their shortest tours too, because it started in February of 13, ended in December. And like I said, we won't get into the whole Richie thing, but I always wonder if that was because of Richie, because I always wonder if there was plans to have a 2014 tour,
Mm.
but because of Richie, the tour got cut short.
I mean, it was
One
90
thing,
something shows.
yeah, but one thing I did like about this tour though was the two song openers that they mainly did. That's What the Water Made Me, and You Could Love a Bad Name. So with That's What the Water Made Me, I love that band jam session at the end
Hmm.
live. It was so cool,
I know, yeah. I think it's
And
the best opener they did, actually. I love That's What the Water Made Me as an opener.
yeah, and I wish we could have seen that song past the What About Because We Can tour. I wish they would have done it on This House tour, and
They did
it's
rehearse
so
it.
good. Did they?
Yeah, and it was on a couple of set lists as an audible.
To look into that, I didn't know that. Um, Another good opener too that I liked on this tour was Bad Name that they did
Yes. They opened with
because
that
it
in Coventry when I saw them on This House tour. It was cool.
yeah, but because we can tour, it was so cool because like they didn't have like a curtain or anything. So
Hmm.
like I remember I did a bunch of shows in the pit, and so like it would be pitch black, like dark before they came on. Well, they'd be on the stage, but it'd be dark. But you could like see like the outline of John standing there, because everyone was so used to always John popping out after the band started playing. But when they did Bad Name, John would already be on the stage, and you'd hear the band in the back, and then everything would be pitch black, and you'd hear the band saying "Shot Through the Heart" and "You're to Blame," and then all of a sudden you'd hear John say "You Give Love a Bad Name," and then the lights would hit and they'd start playing, and it was
That's
so cool.
sick.
Yeah, Yeah, they did do that on the MetLife. I forget which. They opened up with Water on MetLife, I
Yeah,
think.
for both shows. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another interesting thing too on this tour was in September, Tico first missed his first show with the band because he had gallbladder surgery, and so I think he had a guy named Rich Scannella. I
Rich
think was
Canella. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was wondering if I got that name wrong. But he covered for Tico, I think 1 or 2 shows.
It was more. I think
So
it was like more like 10 or 11. I remember Tico. He did Tico was out the entire South American leg, and then he missed a few U.S.
yeah,
shows. Then I think it was
yeah,
in Fresno. He came back.
yeah. I think you're right. But anyway, let's dig into the tracks because there's so many good songs in
Hmm.
here. So obviously the first one is "Because We Can," which was the first single that was released on January 7th of 13. It was
Yes.
written by John Ritchie and Billy Falcon, and I think this is a great opener for the album.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that I wish that they would have done is the drum intro. You know the dun
Mm.
dun dun dun. I love that. Yeah, I like it as a band vocal intro, but I thought the drum was much cooler. You know, like they did on tour. You know.
Yeah.
Um, no, you didn't like it.
It's indifferent for me because we can is one of my it's I would say in my top five favorite Bon Jovi songs. It might be actually number one or number two because I just love this song so much. Like it's still one of my most played songs in my music playlist. Um, my most it's like it still holds up 7 or 8 years later. It's an amazing song.
Yeah,
I
and
relate to it a lot.
I'm glad that they continue playing it too because they did a lot during this house tour too.
Mm.
And you were talking about your experience when you downloaded it. You mentioned 10 o'clock, but I remember buying it because I was in college at the time, and so I
Mm.
working at a funeral home, and I was out shoveling the snow, and I remember I bought it at like 7 a.m. And actually, no, I think I got it at midnight.
Oh wow.
Either way, regardless, but I remember playing it over and over for a straight hour because I loved it so much. It was so good. And then I was just so hopeful with the rest of the album, which we'll talk about more tracks. Another thing that I really like about this song too is Richie's guitar solo that he
Mm.
does.
Oh, it's a very simple guitar solo. It
But
really
it's
is, but it's so good.
yeah.
Bum, 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 ba, na, 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 na.
And then another thing that shines too is I like the lyrics and the vocals that John does during the bridge. You know,
Oh
before
yeah.
before and after the guitar solo. I thought those were good too. And we were talking about this live too. And it's always one of those fun songs that really pump you up live. Like when people are clapping in the air and stuff. It's just a fun song live.
Yeah, I'd
With
prefer that song over a whole lot of Leaving and Lost Highway, honestly. I really would.
yeah, I like those songs. Well, you know how I feel about a whole lot of leaving. Uh, I'd probably prefer it over Lost Highway. I like Lost Highway, but I'd probably prefer this one. What did you think of the music videos?
Oh, I loved them. I loved
Yeah,
them.
I remember they released the original music video, and then like a month later they started to release. How many? I think there was like four, but it all told a story.
Mm.
About this soldier. Uh,
I remember
Basically,
a stripper being involved too.
yeah, the stripper. She was
There's
hot.
always a stripper. There's always a stripper involved. If there's one thing I've learned about life.
Yeah. Um, you know, let's get to the meaning of the song too. I think it has a lot to do with optimism.
Mm.
Becoming this whole album in itself is as well. It's that optimism through the dark, becoming a leader. It's kind of similar to We Weren't Born to Follow in a way. Becoming a leader and making a change because we can. Why should you do something because you can? So it's
Mm.
simple yet means a lot.
Oh,
You know.
it's a great song. Like we can talk about this song for days. It's I think it has the same power as It's My Life. Like it's just one of those songs that will always get you in the mood. And it's funny because it has a very I would want to say like sing-alongable chorus, if that makes sense. Like I remember I was at the at MetLife, no, at the Prudential Center back in 2018 for night two, and Chris Christie, the governor from New Jersey, rather he was the governor, was there, and he was like singing along to that song. I'm just like, yeah, like doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, it's still a great song.
Yeah, it's like those lyrics before the guitar solo in the bridge. Our love can move a mountain. We can because we can. I love that. Just
Mhm.
coming together, making a change because we can. Let's get into the next track. I'm with you. This one had to grow on me I first heard the album. But I love it now. It was written by John and John Shanks. Richie, I don't think Richie wrote this one. It was just
Mhm.
John and John. Um, it was only played live a few times too. I remember it was played on the BBC show, and I don't think I did about 12 shows on the Because We Can tour. And I don't think I ever saw it live at any of my shows, but I know that it was done a few times.
Yeah,
Did you?
they played it they played it primarily in Europe, and it's a shame because it's a great song. Like anytime I pick up the guitar, like maybe once, twice a week, like I'll just fucking fiddle with the riff. It's like it's just such a catchy riff. I love it.
I love that intro. Play it one more time. Yeah, it's so good. I love it.
It's a great
And,
song.
and to me, the whole meaning of the song is it's a person who's so tired of the usual and being beaten down. Nothing's changing for the better. And then it's just like all of us are feeling that way, and we come together. I'm with you, and we're gonna make it through together. And we're gonna make the change. Like when all hope is gone, we'll make it through. You know, I love that.
It's a brilliant song when it comes to that because it's very relatable to 2020 and 2021 because over the last few months and years we went through so much stuff as a nation and as a world, and it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter where you're from, like we're in this together. That's the way I interpret this song.
Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, we're all
Yeah.
experiencing the same hardships together. I know how you feel, you know how I feel, kind of thing. We're all beaten down, and when there's no hope, we can find hope together, and we're in this together, basically.
Yeah.
And my favorite lyric of this song is, if I got one thing, I got something to prove. We all got nothing if there's nothing to lose. You know? So to me, it kind of ties back to we got each other, and that's a lot for love. Back to prayer.
Yeah, it's just a very honest song. That's the way I see it. And John is very good at writing these type of songs and encompassing the way people feel.
Yep, exactly. Do you have any favorite lyrics from this song?
I haven't really thought about it. I like the first verse. It's like, look at this world, it's filled with worn out faces. I just
Yeah,
forgotten places where nothing is changing. I love it. It's just such a brilliant. It's just a brilliant first verse. I love it.
it is. Yeah. Let's go into What About Now, which is actually the second, and technically, if you omit Not Running Anymore, which we'll get to that, but it was the second single released on, I think, February 11th of 2013. Either the 10th or the 11th.
Oh,
Uh, it was written by John and John Shanks. Um, Obviously, it was played live every show. To be honest with you, as a single and an album, I wish the album was called Because We Can, and I wish they would have chose That's What the Water Made Me as a second single. I like this song, but it's not one of my favorites as a single goes. It's not a
I
bad song.
agree. I agree.
I I,
Um,
I think it misses that grab.
yeah. I liked it when it first came out. The music video was very cool for it,
Yes, I love
but
the. It was the what they like behind the scenes
yeah,
on tour. stuff like that. And I remember after the whole Richie thing, because Richie was gone when this video was released, because they released the song in February, but the video didn't come out, I think, until like April, and it was after Richie was gone. And I remember like they only showed Richie for like 2 clips, and like everybody like flipped out about it and stuff. You remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it was
Can't say
crazy.
that I do. But they still flip out over Richie in the fandom. So what's changed?
Yeah, we won't get into that. But
But
this. Go ahead.
yeah, but you were saying it's like this song doesn't really hold up as much anymore. Like if it comes on, I
Yeah,
won't skip it, but it's not my go-to song from this album.
yeah. There were so many good tracks on this. Like "Pictures of You." That's what the
Hmm.
water made me. I thought that would have been really good singles. But it is what it is. It's still a good song. What I really like about this song though is the meaning behind it. At least how I feel about it. I think it's about making that initial move because we have to. There's no better time than now to make to make a change. It kind of ties into the whole "because we can, I'm with you" meanings. Making that change. And what I like that how he writes in this song too. If you want to start a fire, it takes a spark. Getting behind the wheel, you're gonna have to drive that car. You want to take a bite, you better have the teeth. So he kind of, you know, if you want to make a change, if you want to do something, if you want it, you have to do what it takes to do it. You know, Make sense?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Something from work. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Um,
Um, so, um, my favorite lyric is from this one is, if you want to raise your voice, don't be scared to breathe, don't be afraid to hurt, don't be ashamed in need. I love that.
that's that's cool.
Especially that last line, don't be ashamed in need. I love that.
I thought it was "Don't be ashamed to need."
It's in need.
Really, I didn't know
Mm.
that. I did not know
Yeah.
that.
See, that's the one thing that they don't have lyrics in the album or the vinyl, but it's in. I mean, either way, it means the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's in or two. It's pretty much the same thing. Um, so, anything you want to say about this track before we go to Pictures
Uh,
of You?
no, not really. Let's just go to the next one.
All right. So next one is Pictures of You, which was written by John Ritchie and Shanks, and it's actually one of my favorites on this album.
Yes, I concur.
And shamefully, I don't think it was ever played live, and
I
I think it
know.
would have. I think it would have been great live. Um, it's more, and it's nice because it kind of breaks away from the first three tracks, because like all three tracks have like pretty much the same meaning, and making a change, and it's very socially conscious. Pictures of You, I think, is more of. I think he was writing about I think John was writing more about Dorothea and his kids, and it's more of a romantic or a relationship type song. And it's all about, I think, looking at back at memories, pictures, and creating more memories. Like you have this canvas and you're painting your life on it, making memories and stuff like that.
For me, it's actually about I'm still writing about you. Like I'm still painting
Yeah.
pictures of you. It's like I'm still writing about you. I'm still with you.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
that, like I wish I could write a song like that. It's just such a brilliant song. It
It
really
sure
is.
is.
It's the intro, John's guitar in the background when let me try to remember this because it's been a while since I played it, but it's like palm muting the entire time. He's like palm muting it, and it's just like very subtle in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. My favorite line from this song is, every line from my hand takes me back to what I can't erase. So in that line, I always think about like mistakes that you've made in your relationship in the past, but you've learned from it, you've overcome it, and you're better because of it.
Yeah, for me, it's no matter what I try, no matter what I do, I'm still painting pictures of you. Like you can't help it, no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
I,
like you
I
said,
love that.
it's such a brilliant song, especially songwriting wise. Um, so, and like I said, it was never played live, I don't think, and I wish it was because I think it would have done so well live.
Oh,
You know,
definitely, definitely.
um, next track, and is Amen. It was written by John and Billy Falcon, and this is a huge fan favorite. I remember when this song, when the album, well, when they did it on tour and then the album, I remember on the fan. Were you a member of the fan club back
No,
then?
I recently became a member of it.
Okay, so back then, we had forums and we could talk about the tracks and our songs or whatever. I remember Amen was just a huge fan favorite. Um, this one grew on me. I wish I had enjoyed it more during the What About Now tour, as much as I enjoyed it during this House tour.
Mm.
But my favorite thing about this song is John's vocals, especially at the end, like when he's screaming "Amen" and he's holding those notes. I mean, it sounds so fucking good, you know.
I know, I know. For me, it's the intro. I just love it. I'm not too crazy about the song anymore because it was
Yeah,
overplayed on the "This House Is Not for Sale" tour, and it killed it.
yeah.
So
You
it's
know,
like
are you,
just this riff. It's just amazing. It's like it's just such a brilliant riff. I love it.
had a dream I
It's
had was
not.
true. Yeah, I love it. It's such a romantic. Like I said, the first two tracks of this album are very socially conscious, but then you get into Pictures of You and Amen, and it's just
Mhm.
two romantic songs. And Amen, I think, is one of probably the most intimate songs that he has written. I think. I think it's very open. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, for
Um,
me, like it's like the most romantic song about getting laid like ever. It really is.
yeah. Um, the lyric I like is unfolding like a mystery inside of her, like a thousand horses running through my veins. Mercy, mercy, what else can I say?
I know.
So
This is
yeah,
this is the most romantic way to say like I want to have sex with you. Like that's literally it's
yeah.
amazing. What a
But
poet.
it's a very it's very intimate. I think that's what makes the song so intimate though. You know? Uh
Yeah.
let's get into the next track. That's what the water
Oh,
made
I
me.
love this song. I love it. It is so amazing. It's like
Yeah.
just like the intro. It's like just like this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Just like this it's just amazing, and the lyrics are so relatable, and as someone who lives by the beach, grew up on the water, if you will, that's what the water made me like. This is who I
Yeah.
am. Like, can't change this. Like, there are some people that you may not get along with, and that's fine, but you shouldn't change for anybody. That's what the
Exactly.
song means for me. It's like that's you be who you are, and it's like classic Bon Jovi. This is just the live version of the song is incredible.
Yeah. It was written by John and Billy Falcon. And we talked about how this was so great live. And I think Tico really shines on this song with drums. I think this is like one of those songs on this album that where Tico is spotlighted with the drum. I just love it. Especially that build up after the guitar solo when we're leading into the final chorus. It's just starting to pick up, and then you hear like John goes, "Here it goes, here," and then you just hear Tico going at it. I love it.
uh
Um,
I agree.
and like you're talking about your meaning too, and like for me as well is knowing where you came from. It's kind of like the joke, drinking the Kool-Aid or drinking the water. That's what the water makes you. And
Mhm.
I also think it has a second meaning too. I also think it's about looking at all the bluntness, or being blunt and looking at all the negativity in the world.
Mhm.
Like this is how it is, and that makes sense.
Interesting. I never
Yeah,
really thought of
look at
that.
what's that?
I never really thought of it that way, but that's the beauty of music. It's very
Yeah,
John
that's
can
how
write a
I
song
always.
and it could mean something to him, and then I'll
Mhm.
hear it, and then you'll hear it, and me and you can have
Yeah,
completely different meanings to it. And that's amazing.
and my favorite lyric of this song, I think this is actually my favorite lyric of the whole album. Love is like fingerprints; they don't wash away. I left mine all over you. I'll take the blame. I love those lyrics.
Yeah, I like the I left mine all over you. I like that. I like that line a lot. But
Yeah.
my favorite is "That's what the water made me. That's who I am and what I'll be. There ain't no doubt about it. Makes you or brings you
Mm,
to your knees." Um,
yeah.
and then there's also another line. The first line is like, "Baby, baby, baby. There's no use in trying to save me."
Yeah.
It's
There's no
that's
angels in heaven. Or
oh
how's it
yeah.
go?
Now I see your point. Now I see your point. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about, the bluntness and the negativity. What's that line there? There's no angels in heaven, angels in hell, or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
Devils
talking
in
about.
heaven. There's angels in hell.
Yeah, exactly. There it is. Yeah. And and so that's what I'm talking about, like the negativity in the world, and being blunt with this is how the world is. Um, so let's get into the next track, because
Yes.
next track, Left of Me, written by John Ritchie and Billy Falcon. This is actually, and I know it's not a fan favorite, and I don't know why, but it's actually my second favorite track on this
Really.
album. I love it. It's probably the only storyteller song, maybe not right anymore, but What's Left of Me is such a great storyteller song, because John kind of writes it in the third person, because he talks about so many people who are in different walks of life, who are experiencing the same hardships. The story of the newspaper writer, a soldier, the band, teacher, farmer, etc. We're all, no matter what walk of life you're in, we're all experiencing this hardship together. We're all in the world. You know,
Yeah.
it, Go ahead.
No, no, no. Finish your point. Sorry.
And it's all about having everything taken away and not having much left, but you still have so much to give. Like in the line, I'm still breathing and my heart still beats. And I'm still a human. And
Yeah,
there's still
definitely.
something to give, basically. You know.
Yeah, yeah, man. The song reminds me a lot of like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah,
So like it's the way that
I can
he
see
does
that.
his storytelling. It's a good song, but it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah,
That's the way I
see,
see it. It's
it was never popular in the fandom. I remember it was played at the BBC show,
mm,
uh, January, February of 2013, and I remember it wasn't perceived well. I fell in love with it, and then it never made it to the tour, unfortunately. But I don't know. I enjoy it. I love it. My favorite lyric of this song is, "In the name of the flag, some gave their lives. I'm still living, yeah, semper fi." And he's obviously talking about a soldier, coming home
mm,
and stuff. And it really, it's very touching, because you got to think about it. Soldiers are always forgotten about after they serve. They come back and they're financially stricken, and they're suffering PTSD and stuff, and they're forgotten about too. So I like that line was there in that song. You know,
yeah,
so
definitely. It's it's not a bad song, but in my opinion, it doesn't. It just doesn't do anything for me. That's the thing. I appreciate what he's trying to do, but like I
yeah,
said, it just doesn't do anything for me. It's okay. Um, I would say it falls under like like it doesn't fall in my top five. Like I can looking at this, I can tell you my top five. I mean, we covered three of them already because we can pictures of you. That's what the water made me.
yeah,
So we covered we covered three of them. I just think side C of the album is like the weakest side in just my opinion.
that's okay. Next one is Army of One,
Yeah.
written by John Ritchie and Desmond Child. This was I think this was overplayed on that tour. It's an okay song.
I
I
do not
thought
like it. There.
it kind of reminds me of being in kindergarten. You know,
I
it's a good song, but it just
don't like it.
I don't know. I don't. The whole me I think behind this song is, being a leader, even if you're an army of one, but it forms unity, because if I'm an army of one, you're an army of one, we become an army, and we're experiencing this turmoil together, and we can make it through together. So it's kind of like Because We Can, we can come together, So
Mhm.
makes sense.
I think
So
the drums at the end kind of saved the song.
yes, I love that. That is good. And the guitar, I think the guitar is really good too on this song. I think Richie really shines. And I always thought like musically with the guitar and the lyrics, the meaning, I think it kind of goes back to Because We Can. I think they're both similar. You know, um, my favorite lyrics is so don't apologize, defend, just be alive. We're all trying to get it right tonight. You know, so basically we're all in this together, and it's okay to make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. And I think
Mm.
that ties into the whole socially conscious thing as history. We make there's been so many mistakes made in history, but we can move forward in a positive way. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Like I like the never give up part. I love the chorus, the lyrics from the chorus. Never give up, never ever, never, never give up, never ever ever, never give in.
Never
You're an
ever.
army of yeah,
Yeah.
you're an army of one. Never. Yeah, I'm like I haven't listened to the song in so long.
It's definitely a good song, and I enjoyed it live. Um, it's not one of those songs that I always go to. It's not bad.
Mm,
But let's go to the next one because I really love the next one, Thick as Thieves,
really.
and that's another romantic song. It was written by John Ritchie and Shanks. It was played live a few times. Never any of the shows I did, unfortunately. Every show that I went to, I was always crossing my fingers. Of, please play Thick as Thieves because I love it. I
That
like it very.
sucks.
What's that?
That sucks. You never got to hear it live.
I know, and I love how how it starts. It's kind of slow and intimate, and then it picks up before that guitar solo. And then the Tico's banging on the drums, and the guitar gets heavier, and then you just get into that guitar solo. Um, And obviously, it's more of a romantic song. It's going through everything together, taking the world by storm. And so I think he was really writing and thinking about Dorothea in this song, you know?
Mm,
And so, and there's two lyrics in the song that I want to talk about because they're so good. The first one is in a world without faith, you're what I believe. When they're stacking up the deck, you're the card up my sleeve. I love that line. I love the way he sings it. The lyric itself, it's so good. And my second, and this is a popular lyric from the fan. I remember when this album came out, a lot of people loved this one. If I robbed a bank, you wouldn't care. You'd come sit on my lap in the electric chair. When they flip the switch, we'd just kiss. You know. So in that
damn.
line about going through the bad with someone, and you would do anything with that person, even if it's the worst. You're going to go through the worst with that person. And I love that line. I love both those lines. What do you
Yeah,
think of this song?
it's okay. Like I said, doesn't really do anything for me. But I was amused by the second the bridge. It's like if I robbed the bank part, I was just like, oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
unique. That part kind of stands out.
yeah. Next one is Beautiful World. And this is probably my third favorite.
Mm.
And Never Played Live was written by John and Billy Falcon. I don't think Richie wrote on this one. Um, I wish it was played live because I think it would have been a fun one live. Um, it's Beautiful World. I think it's all about looking at the brighter side of things, even though there's so much negativity. In that first verse, the world ending, I'll believe it and worry about it when I see it. So you don't want to focus on. So you're looking at the brighter side of it. You're like, okay, they're saying the world's ending. I'll believe it when I see it, basically.
Mm.
And then the having the same routine every day. When he says, if you're lucky, then you do it again. You know. So that's the optimism in that. You're living in the same routine every day, especially like with this pandemic right now. We're all living the same routine. You're going, go to sleep, and if you're lucky to go to work, then you get up and you get to do it again tomorrow. So he's looking at the optimism in this song. And my favorite line, which ties into the whole optimism thing too, is when I look into your eyes, I'm just happy I can. You know,
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like be lucky for be lucky and be grateful for what you have.
that's a better way to put it. You're right. Be lucky and be thankful and appreciative of what you have. Like the chorus. Look at it, just sticks and bricks, makes you wonder how the pieces fit, but you're glad that it does. You don't know how this world comes together, but you're lucky that you're in it. You know?
Definitely. I mean, I'm not a fan of the bridge, but other than that, it's an amazing song.
Yeah, I always wondered. The bridge is okay. I always wondered the pretzel man's wearing Gucci glasses. The lover spreads her widow spreads her lover's ashes. You know, I always wondered about the the pretzel man wearing Gucci glasses. You know,
Yeah, that's
but
too much.
in there. Uh, let's talk about the next one because the next one is probably my top five. Room at the End of the World,
Yes. I fucking love that
R-
song.
written by John and Shanks. And this was never played live, I don't think, unfortunately. I think that he should have simultaneously changed Amen to Room at the End of the World on the Because We Can tour, because I think it would have done well live. I think it would have been a fan favorite live. So, you know, my thing is it's kind of like a black hole theory. You know, no matter where we go or do, there's a room at the end of the world. So, trying to think of the best way to describe it without sounding.
For me, it's kind of like how do you say this? Like there's always a place where you can go. There's always someone you can turn to.
Yeah, and
When
I think
when
that's
shit hits the fan.
yeah, like home. You know, like with your loved ones. You know, you have a bad day. At the end of the day, you go home with your family and you're home. You know, or you know, I was thinking about at the end of life. You know, heaven per se.
Mm-hmm.
You know, room at the end of the world. You know, like after you do what you do in your life, you go to this room after you die. You know, that could be heaven or whatever you believe that it is, you know? So in a way, I think it's kind of a spiritual song. That's you know, it probably isn't, but that's the way I always perceived it.
Yeah, that song gives me the shivers, man. It really does. I
Yeah.
love that
You know,
song.
my favorite lyrics on this is where all the prayers go to be heard and the truth will have its turn. Take a look into these eyes. There's no place I'd rather be tonight.
I'm trying to think of my favorite lyric. Mm, it's me and you in a room at the end of the world. I love that. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
now I see what you're saying about the whole heaven thing. I never really thought of it that way. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you know, it's probably not, probably John didn't write about it like that. But like you said, you know, music, you know, once John gives
Mm-hmm.
it away, you know, we depict it in our own way. And that's how I always thought about it, you know. But let's go to the next track, which this is the end of the standard album, which we'll get into the deluxe because we have time. The
Mm-hmm.
Fighter, which is written by John. It was played live quite a bit, especially during runaway trips, especially back then. Um, I always thought it was similar to Not Running Anymore in a
Mm-hmm.
way. You know, just pretty much just John and a guitar. Um, but it's a classic acoustic JBJ song.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. It's the intro, dude. Oh my god. It's one of my favorite songs to play on the guitar. It's like
Yeah,
it's such a great song, man. It,
yeah, yeah,
I relate to it a lot because growing up, I was in high school when this came out, and I was just the weird dude that played guitar. I really didn't have that many friends, and didn't really wasn't really able to get the girls and stuff. And this song really kind of spoke to me a lot. It's like, yeah, this is who I am. I'm just a person with a guitar.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
You
such a
know,
brilliant song.
to me, I think when John was writing this, I think he was writing about looking back at his legacy and looking at who he is now, and realizing there's no need to hide who you are, and it's okay to have flaws in a way. You know, it's okay to be human. You know, make mistakes, and I think he was, like it's like the lyric, "I'm the book that ain't finished, this that sink full of dishes, the horse that ain't winning, the priest that's still sinning, the
The
spark that never
spark
started." I think I
that
got the lyric right.
starts The fire. I love this
Yeah,
song, man.
yeah. So it's such a good song. I think I've seen it at a Runaway Trip. I don't think I've ever seen it on the tour though. But
Yeah, he played it in Philly in 2017. I was shocked. Before Wanted, he just played the fighter.
yeah,
And I just
it's a
remember
good.
going ape shit over that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go into the deluxe edition of the
Okay.
album because we got quite a few bonus tracks on this, which was great. The first one is With These Two Hands, which was written by John and Billy Falcon. I love that beginning guitar. You know that dun 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 dun. Dun. Can you play it? Do you know
No,
how to
I
play that?
don't. I'm trying to figure it out.
That's all right. But you know what I'm saying? The dun dun
Uh,
dun dun. Dun. I love
yeah.
that.
Not so
I
crazy about that.
and well, see, I love the song so much because John just sounds so confident in the song. You know, I could, you know, I could raise a glass. I could, whatever.
I could romance and give you 10 good reasons. I could break the ice and pick up the broken pieces. I could wave hello. I could raise a glass. I could blow a kiss. I could kick your ass. We could take this
Yeah,
way too far, or
yeah. So
something. I forget. I
exactly.
forget, man.
Oh yeah. So what I was trying to get at though was that the song is about so full of confidence is that I can do so much with these two hands. I can make a change. We can make a change together, and
Mhm.
it's just it's so in your face, confident. You know, I can do whatever I want with these two hands. You know, and that's pretty much what the whole song is about. But um, you know, the one line, how's it go? We could take it all apart or hold it all together. So it's kind of, it takes you into the question as well. What are you going to do with these two hands? Are we going to take it all apart or hold it all together? Or in the second verse, there is we can make this hurt or we can make it better. So it's the question of how are you going to make a change with your hands, with your voice and all that. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's a good.
It, it,
It has a good meaning to it, but it
yeah.
doesn't really speak to me. That's the thing.
Uh, see, I love it. I think it ties back into because we can. What about now? You know, the whole mean, you know, because we can type thing. My favorite lyrics are wipe the teardrops from your eyes, reach up until we touch the sky, free to dream and make it true. No, there ain't nothing we can't do. I love that line.
Yeah, dude.
Uh,
For me, it's I could kick your ass. I remember just like
I,
I
yeah,
love
for
that. I
sure.
loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Um, the next one is Into the Echo, which I love. I wish this one was actually put on the standard album because it's
Hmm.
it's it's good. Written by John and Billy Falcon. Unfortunately, it was never played live either. You know, I think the whole song is about it's about despair. You know, where we feel whatever we do isn't enough. You know, I feel like Into the Echo means just like this black hole per se. No matter how hard we try, no matter what we do, we're still in this black hole, and it doesn't do any good what we do or say. You know, you don't feel like you're enough. Um, so, but it's a good song. You know, it gives me that. You know, like when I'm having my bad days, or I feel like I'm not enough, or not saying I'm not depressed, but
We
I
all have
turn.
those moments. It's cool.
Yeah, my favorite lyric are you who you are? What's under that mask? Do you burn for the future or yearn for the past? Did somebody send you some broke fairy tale? Now you wait by the water for the ship that has sailed. And then it goes into the chorus. I love that
I
part.
haven't listened to that song in so long, man. Uh, it's my it's not my favorite out of the bonus tracks. For me, it's not running anymore, but it's my second favorite from the bonus tracks.
Yeah,
Um, I look the thing with this song, man. It's like it seems like we throw it into the echo just for everyone to hear it because we want attention. We want to be validated, if that makes sense. That's what the song means to me.
that's another good way to look at it. Yeah, see, I always thought of it like no matter how hard we try, no matter what we do, is it's kind of like a black hole into the echo, you know, fading away, you know.
Hmm.
But that's beauty about music that you can
It's
perceive in a
yeah,
different way.
it's not a bad song. It's
Yeah.
It's relatable. It's very
Yeah.
relatable. And that's the beauty of
Next,
Bon Jovi. It's so relatable.
exactly. Next one is Not Running Anymore, which is, I love this one.
Oh,
It's
me
kind of like
too.
to the Fighter. John wrote it by himself. It's just a classic acoustic song,
Mm.
and I think the song is very reflective.
From this
Um,
movie.
Stand Up Guys, yes, I was going to get into that, which is a good movie. Al
Oh
Pacino.
yeah.
Who else is it? Christopher
Uh,
Walker.
Christopher Walken, not Walker. Alan
Walk.
Arkin.
Alan
Alan
Arkin.
Arkin. Yeah, good movie.
Anyway,
Let's give it a
so
rewatch.
the whole song is just it's very reflective, and it's not basically not running anymore. Nothing that there's nothing to hide from. Take me as I am. And I think the music video also reflects that as well. I love the video. Cause you just see him walking around and he's looking at homeless people, or I like to say that they were prostitutes, that bumped into him and stuff, and he just kind of nods. And I don't know. I thought that, and I always wondered who the guy in that video. You know how this random old guy shows up here and there, and then at the end he gives John a suit in the music video.
Mm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I
I
relate
always,
to that video because I hate wearing suits. I hate dressing up. I hate it so much. Just give me
yeah,
jeans, a t-shirt, and a hoodie, and I'm good, man.
yeah. Um, but it's a good song, and it was actually nominated for a Golden Globe, and I was so mad when it didn't win. I forget what won in that category,
I think
but
Adele won.
Adele won. I remember I watched it that night, and when the Adele whoever won, I was like, "You got to be kidding!" Because I thought it was gonna win. I really did compared to what
Yeah,
it was up
because
against.
what happened was she wrote the song for Skyfall, which is one of the best James Bond movies.
Oh, that's probably why it won.
Yeah,
I forget the category that it was in to win, but I know that it was nominated, but unfortunately it didn't win. Um, my favorite lyrics on this song is "There are roses I have loved who've given in or have given up. I pushed your patience and my luck. It wasn't love I didn't trust. It wasn't you or me or us." I love that line. Like, because like he just, like the whole song itself is very acoustic, intimate, and it's just like easy
hmm,
going. All of a sudden, when he gets into that line, you start to feel the anger, the frustration, and and that's what gives it the song to me. That's what makes it such a good song. You know, because it's kind of like reflective, but then it also gets into anger. You know.
definitely, definitely. I mean, dude, this song for me, it's I remember just hearing this when he played it for the first time on a runaway trip on YouTube back in August of 2012, and I just thought it was brilliant. It was such a good song.
Yeah,
And huh?
yeah. That takes me back to the whole acoustic or the whole solo thing, because now that you brought that up, that's what kind of sparked, because he played. This was one of the very first songs that I think was written for the album, but it was in that movie Stand Up Guys. And I forget when that movie, I think the movie was released before the album even came out. But I think that's why there was a lot of skeptical about John doing a solo album, because he did this. And I think The Fighter was also played at a runaway trip
Yeah, and
before.
Old Habits too. But
Old
dude, this
Habits, yeah. Go ahead.
it's a good song, man. The thing that I love about this song for me is I'm trying to think of the lyric. I'm just I haven't listened to it in so long.
Uh,
Um, Hold on, give me a minute. I'm thinking. I'm having a brain fart. Um, I like the chorus for me. It's like I'm not running anymore. Like it's just like this is who I am.
mm-hmm.
This is what I've done. Let me answer for it. But I'm done running away at this point. That's kind
Yep.
of what I relate to
Take me.
for it.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Let's go into the final track, which this song was not on the American Deluxe, I don't think. I think it was on the European Deluxe. Old Habits Die Hard. It was written just by John. This is actually also on the Stand Up Guys
Yes.
soundtrack.
Yes. The
Because
first,
it.
sorry,
Go ahead.
no, you
No,
finished.
go
You
ahead.
finished.
I
Uh,
love the acoustic song and John's vocals. I love how it just it's another. It's kind of like the fighter and not run anymore. It has a little more umph to it, and I love it. It's
yeah,
so good.
it's like I'm sure. You look like shit, so do you, my brother. I miss you too, yeah, yeah, you dumb stupid mother. Like I heard that, I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. It kind of makes you wonder what the true meaning of this song is, but to me, it's just like looking back and learning from mistakes and going through the thick and thin with someone, despite their mistakes.
Mm.
My lyric, my favorite one is if you could dream anything, what would it be? If you could be that, would you share it with me? We carry our choices, we have our regrets. We know there's a price, but we both pay our debts. I think I got that right.
Yeah,
I love, and it's true. It's a good question. If you could dream anything, what would it be? If you could be that, would you share it with me? If you could achieve of what you want to be, could you share it with me? You know,
yeah.
and
From sorry, what were you saying?
no,
I thought you were done. I thought
that's
you were
what.
done. I thought you were done.
No, I'm done,
Um,
buddy.
for me, it's appearances change, but don't change who we are.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, and it's a shame that that song kind of never really got. Besides Runaway Trips, it never got much spotlight anywhere. And it's definitely a die-hard fan favorite because I talk with other big fans and they love this song out of all the other songs on this album.
Really?
And yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah, it's a good song. But overall, this album, you know, is good. I think the biggest takeaway from this album is all about having finding the optimism at the bottom of the barrel. No matter how hard and rough life is, you still find that optimism. And then it's also about coming together and pushing forward for the greater good. So I think that's like the main takeaway from this album. And even though how heavily socially conscious this album is, I do really like that he put a lot of romantic songs on it, like Pictures of You, Amen, Thick as Thieves, Room at the End of the World in a way, and then some more self-reflective songs like The Fighter and Not Running Anymore. And so, with those combinations, I think it made a great album.
Yeah, like I said, this was my first album that I listened to as being indoctrinated into the whole Bon Jovi fandom, and so it just holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Is it their best album? No, it's not, but it's the way I describe Bon Jovi albums are like Marvel movies. So I'm a huge Marvel fan. Some movies I like more than others, but no matter what, it's still Bon Jovi. Like even
Sure is.
2020, I wasn't such a big fan of, but if someone threw it on, I wouldn't be mad. I'd listen to it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the
Yeah.
way I see it. Like they could put out an album singing like children's nursery rhymes, and I'd still listen to it.
Yeah. Well, one last thing I wanted to bring up too before we conclude is I liked how they did their Heart and Dagger. I meant to bring that up at the beginning. Their Heart and Dagger logo, with the dagger than the heart, but they put in the what do you call those? Where you put them on your knuckles?
Oh yeah, brass knuckles. Oh shit, I never
Uh,
noticed that. I never
yeah.
noticed that. Holy shit. I'll tell you this
So I
story too. So sorry, finish.
no, go ahead because we're gonna wrap up here in a minute.
No. You wanted to make a point. Finish it.
That was my point.
Oh, okay. So this is actually a really funny story. So back in the day, when I used to smoke a lot, my friend and I were at a hookah lounge, and we were smoking weed and hookah. We smoked before we got there, and hookah just kind of helps you relax a lot more. So I went to the Rite Aid across the street to get some munchies, because that's usually what happens when you smoke. And you know how on like Rite Aid, like they have like clearance movies and CDs.
Yeah.
So I saw What About Now there, and I'm high out of my mind. So I see the What About Now album, and there's a clerk next to it. So I like pick up the album and I start talking about the artwork and just talking about the album. It was probably in like the high, like in like the most top 5 highs I've ever been.
Jeez. Well, and anyway, it was good to have you on. I appreciate you coming on, and it was
Yeah,
good
it's great to
to
hear.
talk about. I'm surprised we got through 16 tracks under an hour.
Yeah,
But
we made it
I had a
work.
good chat.
It's
So
always a
thanks.
good chat with you, buddy.
Yeah. Take care, buddy.
Bye.